some people think like, oh, in Juilliard, like you go to Juilliard and you have it made. Was that your, like, did it open up so many things for you, or did you have a lot of, you still have to do the work, you know what I mean? Like, so was it that, like, that magic, like, I'm at Juilliard and then everybody just started calling you up, because your career is pretty fantastical in some ways. Like, to me, your debut, first debuts in Europe, and it's with, like, a man who's so renowned. And I guess maybe the jump from, Juilliard to that, but what's that like I won't call it fairy tale. I mean, you have to work hard, and you have this, they call you upcoming diva. You have this beautiful voice. And then you come to New York and you do, Basel. I mean, not you come to New York, you're in New York, but your debut in New York is with Baz Luhrmann. So you're working with the, A-listers. Boom. Did that surprise you? Did you have to pinch yourself?
I think, it's funny because the life of a performer, I suppose it's different for everybody, but it's very much like a pendulum or a wave, and it's just up and down, and the highs are high and the lows are low. And certainly Juilliard, is a wonderful calling card to have, to say I went to Juilliard. But it doesn't guarantee anything. And but I met some wonderful people there, and certainly right out of school to work with an amazing composer, Phillip Glass.
Yeah, Phillip Glass.
And
astounding.
He was amazing to work with. And I've been very lucky to have some really wonderful projects that I've been lucky enough to be involved with and to learn, and some just really amazing, incredible experiences. And those moments, I'm like, wow, yeah,
this is me. I'm standing
like you
here.
said, pinch myself, yeah, like, and to bring along the little girl that's in me, like, oh my gosh, wow, and but at the same time, there is a lot of moments of struggle as well, and sometimes it's hard to know what you're in when you're in it. It's more in retrospect. You're like when you go on a trip and it's all exciting and it's like and so much stuff is coming at you and being rather overwhelming. And then when you get home and you look at the pictures, you're like, oh, wow, that was a great time.
Or can I do it again really soon? And
yeah,
then sometimes
exactly.
you have to wait, right?
Exactly.
In the arts, sometimes you don't know the next gig. But
right.
But you also work a lot as a recitalist and all kinds of things. So it must be that must be an interesting part of your career, because that's, joining a symphony somewhere or doing so it's constantly moving and constantly like getting comfortable with a whole set of musicians or a place really quickly. So, well, coming from a big family, it must help, because you never really have your own space all the time. You always move in and out of spaces a little bit. But
that's true. Recitals are much more of sort of a naked experience where it's just you, the pianist, and the audience, and so you're just a little more bare and vulnerable, and that's kind of the more scary part, but it's also the more exciting part, where you just really can express just the meat of the songs, and it's much more of a personal and I don't want to say meaningful, but like it's just more personal and deeper, or can be.
Yeah. A more intimate storytelling.
Exactly.
Perhaps,
Yeah. Whereas, when you're in a production, you're with a lot of people, and you have
sets.
You have the sets, and you have costumes, which are amazing, and so many people who are coming together to put this show on, and so you're supported by that. And whereas in a recital, you don't have quite all that support. That's putting the show on. It's just you, the pianist, and
but it can be just as moving and thrilling for the audience, for sure, and probably for you as well. Christine, these cards are so. David, you can close. You can go to this sometimes, or I'll just flick on one question. Do you it's like a pen and like a gouache, or do you do watercolor, or is that like that marker thing, or how do you?
Yeah, it's a bit of a process. I do a pencil drawing, and I come up with
Well, that book is good this way. I'm good. Yeah.
the drawing, and then I put pen to it, and then I take it to. Oh, there's some falling out. Yeah. Oopsie.
Okay, it's all right. We're good.
And
They want to have a voice too. They want to be heard.
And then I take it to the print shop, and I usually reduce it for the card size and print them. And then I bring them home, and I use marker when I color them, and they're all a little different.
Now, do these just come out of your head, or like a lot of them remind me of throwbacks from the 40s or the 50s or 60s? And do you do all these three things simultaneously, or is this something like when you're like going to do a recital or something, do you sketch along the way when you're in between things? You know, some people need to keep busy, so they do their creative thing. How do your processes work separately or together? Because do you compartmentalize, or do you kind of go back and forth and everything?
Well, some of them are from shows that I've done, and
pick them up.
Like this one was me in Belle Époque. And so as an opening night card, I'll make. And then some of them are also, like this one was also, and this was actually me in 9. But this one was a character in Belle Époque. And
they make nice gift notes to the cast.
Yeah, and I gave the cast, and those are actually more characters in 9. This was Eartha Kitt, actually.
Oh, yeah, I could tell.
Or inspired by.
Yes. And you also did, you ended up doing Sound of Music again and played the Baroness, right?
I did, and Maria.
And Maria, yeah.
Two different seasons. And then some of them are
flirty and cute.
For friends, like my nieces. I've done a few. And
have you ever, I was thinking, did anybody ever ask you to do like a set for their wedding so they could give them as gifts or anything? That'd be a kind of
Not
cool
yet,
thing.
yeah.
So I'll try that one out for
good
size.
idea.